The radical. Fundamental principles of freedom, rational self-interest, and individual rights. This is the Yaron Brook Show.
All right, everybody. Welcome to Yaron Brook Show on this Tuesday, June 24th, the day Trump returned to being Trump. A little aberration there for a little while. He's back to his old self. Don't worry. I know many of you worried about Trump, worried about what had become of him, but here he is. He's back. Don't worry. Anyway, as I predicted yesterday, the weak response of the Iranians, which was telegraphed in advance and broadcast in advance so that there would be no casualties and no problems and no issues, basically led Donald Trump to, in a sense, unilaterally declare a ceasefire. He had a talk with Qatar, who conveyed those intentions to the Iranians, and he spoke to Netanyahu, and everybody agreed. And according to, of course, Donald Trump, they came to him running. They came to him begging for a ceasefire, and he has provided it. A ceasefire was called. Israel was in. Israel had about 6 hours before the ceasefire went into effect, and it sent a bunch of planes to Tehran and probably did a huge amount of bombing yesterday in Tehran, including killing a senior Revolutionary Guard leader, in particular of that part of the Revolutionary Guard that is responsible for internal suppression. So they killed the commander of the intelligence unit of the IRGC's voluntary paramilitary force, Basij, which is the ones who get the girls whose hair is sticking out and who suppress any demonstrations or any alternative point of view. He was killed in an airstrike just before the ceasefire. Also, they managed to eliminate another nuclear scientist. I guess they had one more on the list, or maybe more on the list, but at least they got one more on the list, and he was gone. Following that, there was a barrage of missiles into Israel. One of those missiles, unfortunately, hit a building in southern Israel, in Beersheba. There were at least 3, I think, or maybe 4 dead as a consequence of that. And then the ceasefire was supposed to go into effect. But it didn't. Iran continued a number of barrages of missiles after that, continued after that. Israel took that as a violation of the ceasefire. And even though Netanyahu had promised Donald Trump, before Donald Trump went to bed, that he would stick to the ceasefire, he sent up planes to head towards Tehran to punish them for violating, for the ceasefire violation. Donald Trump woke up while the planes were still in the air on the way and had a hissy fit, got really, really upset, called up Netanyahu, told him to return the planes. I mean, this is his tweets this morning. Israel is not going to attack Iran. All planes will turn around and head home while doing a friendly plane wave to Iran. Nobody will be hurt. The ceasefire is in effect. Thank you for your attention on this matter, Donald J. Trump, President of the United States. And then a little bit later, Israel, do not drop those bombs. If you do it, is a major violation. Bring your pilots home now, Donald J. Trump, President of the United States. That one was all caps, the whole thing. Anyway, Netanyahu, I guess, had one plane blow up a radar somewhere in northern Iran. And then the pilots indeed turned around and flew back home. And since then, there's been a ceasefire in place between Israel and Iran. Everybody is basically, all 3 parties are basically declaring victory. Israel is claiming that they have achieved all their intentions. They have destroyed, according to Netanyahu, they've destroyed basically the Iranian nuclear program, and they will not be able to resurrect it. And if they do, Netanyahu promises us that they will be back and do it again. We will strike again, he said just a little while ago in a speech that he gave. The Iranians have mass not demonstrations, festive celebrations all over Iran with huge numbers of people out in the streets celebrating the Iranian victory over both Israel and the United States, the survival of the regime. Also, Iran has announced that they will start significantly clamping down on anybody who might have helped Israel, might have supported Israel, might have just wanted the regime gone. Generally, they're going to massive clamp down on the civilian population in Iran to make sure that they do not rise up against Iran. And of course, Donald Trump declared not only victory and ceasefire and peace for our time. He went all out on this. I mean, first he said the F word in an interview, basically going after Netanyahu. He clearly was really pissed off as he boarded the helicopter to take him to the Air Force One, to take him to Europe for the NATO meeting. I mean, he was like, F, what the hell are they doing? They don't appreciate me, all I've done for them. And he said the F word, and he was really angry. You could tell he was super angry. You can find the video of it online. Anyway, then I guess on the plane or somewhere in that vicinity, he was asked about, do you want to see regime change in Iran? And Trump said, no, I don't want it. I like to see everything calm down as quickly as possible. Regime change makes chaos. And ideally, we don't want to see so much chaos. So we'll see how it goes. The Iranians are very good traders, very good business people, and they got a lot of oil. They should be fine. They should be able to rebuild and do a good job. They're never going to have nuclear. They're never going to have nuclear. But other than that, they should do a great job. I mean, that is the first indications that maybe sanctions are going to be lifted on Iran. They've got a lot of oil. And he also said at some point China should be happy. They're going to get a lot of oil. Oil is going to be cheap. So China should be happy. But Iranians, good traders. They're going to be okay. They're going to be good. No regime change. God, no regime change. We don't want regime change. Chaos. I mean, here's the thing. Right? That is truly amazing about Trump. And this is going to be, my compliment to Trump. I mean, it's going to sound astounding. Trump is a, dare I say, brilliant politician. God, I mean, he played this perfectly for his audience. Perfectly. I mean, he basically achieved two things. I mean, one big thing he achieved. He has unified MAGA and got the Republican Party behind him like they've probably never been before. This was a masterstroke, right? So he let Israel do Israel's thing, taking on very little risk by doing that. Nobody was really pissed off at him around that. As long as he stood back, it was all good, and he could take credit for the success Israel had without being part of the war. Then he acted like the hawk, the tough guy. So all the tough guys, hawks in the Republican Party, loved him because he bombed Puerto and Isfahan and Nantes. He used cruise missiles and the mopes, the big penetrating, mother of all bunker busting bombs. And he won over the hawks, and they loved him. And then, as soon as that is over, pretty much, he declares a ceasefire. And all the MAGA who were afraid of World War III and afraid of chaos in Iran and afraid of regime change, because that would be horrible, regime change, and really, really, really wanted America not to be involved at all, they're like, yes, Trump is the peacemaker we always thought he would be. I mean, you have to admit, that is brilliant. It's, in my view, unbelievably corrupt and destructive and horrible for America and for the Middle East. But it's politically a genius. I mean, it's unlikely Iran will have the resources and the capacity to do anything offensive or anything upsetting for the rest of the Trump presidency. And he will take full credit for bringing peace to the Middle East and being a peacemaker and being a tough guy. Peace through strength, they will say. And yeah, I mean, there's a sense in which Israel will be holding the bag long term in terms of having to deal with Iran decades into the future. But, he's not going to be around, so what does he care? It really is a brilliant political move. He played everybody. He played everybody, and this is what he's good at. I'm telling you, the Republican Party will never be as united around Trump as they are right now. He's built up a huge amount of political capital. He's got it all. He's got it all. So we will see, right? I mean, the next steps are going to be really interesting in the sense that does Trump think he's going to get some kind of deal with Iran? Is Iran, do they want a deal? It doesn't seem like Israel's going to strike them again. So what is the incentive for Iran to do a deal? The United States is certainly not going to strike them. Is there a deal? Maybe Iran wants sanctions lifted, and that is the carrot that Trump will dangle in front of him. Iran is saying today, our nuclear program is up and running. We are going for it. We are going to do this stealth now. We are not interested in nuclear whatever agency monitoring us. We've still got our enriched uranium. We've got centrifuges you don't know about. We're going to enrich uranium and build a bomb. And to hell with all of you. They're saying, we can recover. And indeed, remember, Israel did not do any damage to the fundamental source of economic prosperity, potentially, that Iran has. They did not bomb the oil facilities. They did not bomb the oil export platforms. They did not stop Iran from producing oil. They will, they're still selling oil. They will continue to sell oil. Money will continue to flow. They don't care about the well-being of their own people. So they have the money to, again, fund terrorism. They have the money to fund their military. They have the money to find ways to redevelop a nuclear program if that's what they want. Trump will dangle the prospects of eliminating all sanctions, which will allow this regime, this mullah regime, these theocrats, to become even richer in exchange for some deal where they don't develop nuclear weapons. They promise not to develop nuclear weapons. Now, we'll see how good of a deal he can cut. We'll see whether any kind of deal is possible. But if a good deal is possible, I'm pretty sure it's not. But that's where this is heading, right? I mean, Trump is not going to want a deal and is going to want to lift sanctions. And so that was, the political goal Trump achieved. And then the other goal Trump is seeking and is going to work hard to try to achieve is he wants a Nobel Prize for Peace. He really, 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 really wants a Nobel Prize for Peace. And he thinks he already deserves it, and he thinks that, it'll come to him because of what he's done. Indeed, Pakistan. You remember he met with the Defense Secretary of Pakistan in the White House, secret meeting without the press. Well, it turns out that that was geared towards getting Pakistan. Who knows what Trump offered them in return, but geared towards having Pakistan nominate Donald Trump for the Nobel Peace Prize. Islamabad says the U.S. president helped resolve India conflict You know, of course, in addition, he's now made a deal. I really expect that you will see a massive amount of pressure from the United States over the next few weeks for Israel to resolve the situation in Gaza, because the one thing that people are going to hold over Trump in terms of his Nobel Peace is the so-called genocide in Gaza, and you know, he is making that possible. Massive pressure to find a solution in Gaza for you know, for some kind of peaceful resolution there to get the hostages, but also that might provide legitimacy to Hamas, because clearly Trump does not want to be tough. Netanyahu, in his speech a few minutes ago, ended the speech basically by saying, we must not take off the gas. Hamas must be defeated and our hostages returned. The Hamas must be defeated. Is that something Trump is going to allow him to do? And I'm really not sure that is possible. But we will see. We will see. You know, I don't know that he's going to get one. You know, the Nobel Peace Prize, you know, the people who give those out are pretty lefties, but he wants one. He wants one. A lot of people think he deserves it. A lot of people think this ceasefire with Iran is a brilliant move and destroying, you know, after destroying the nuclear capabilities. Here's the thing, and I've said this for days. The real goal of any mission with Iran, if you really want to achieve peace in the Middle East, if you really want this to be a geopolitical moment, a Berlin, fall of Berlin Wall kind achievement, moment, if you really want that, then the only possible goal for the attack was regime change. And you achieve regime change by taking out the nuclear program. You achieve regime change by destroying their ballistic missiles. You achieve regime change by what Israel was doing and did very heavily the last couple of days, which is taking out regime bases. You're taking out, you know, revolutionary guards, taking out the people who oppress the demonstrators, taking out the symbols of the Iranian regime. And it was happening. The reality is that it was happening without the US's help. I mean, here's the thing. Trump could have stayed out of this. And if you wanted to bomb Fordo, Isfahan, Natanz, and then stay out of it. Why does he need a ceasefire? Other than his ambition, other than his need to unite the Republican Party around these issues, and his desire for Nobel Prize. It's Trump motivation. But in terms of the Middle East, I mean, I'm sure the Saudis are like, oh my God, how could he do this? The United Arab Emirates are like, God, what? Nobody can trust this guy. Now, you know, you hear this from me. Everybody else is praising him to the hilt. The Israelis are, the Americans are, the Arabs are. Everybody is sucking up to him because they know that that's how you get anyway. But to actually bring about the peace, and I said, a complete geopolitical change in the Middle East, a complete revived Middle East, a dramatic change. He would have deserved the Nobel Prize. I mean, Netanyahu kind of would have deserved the Nobel Prize. Is regime change. Get rid of these mullahs. And who the F cares if there's chaos? I mean, I hate that. You know, like, ooh, instability. We can't have instability. Instability, that's bad. No, for instability. The rumors already, by the way, flying that everybody wants a peace deal with Israel. We'll see. I mean, it's possible, but we'll see. Supposedly Lebanon and Syria, run by an Islamist, wants peace with Israel. They want to join the Abraham Accords. Now Syria wants money, technology, investment. It'll be interesting what a deal with Syria looks like. Syria has a border with Israel, unlike Saudi Arabia. Well, Saudi Arabia is not in the Abraham Accords. Unlike the UAE and places like that, Syria has a border. But if Israel achieves peace with Lebanon and Syria, that'll be peace through strength. That'll be the consequence of them looking and seeing what Israel did to Hezbollah, looking at seeing what Israel did to Iran and going, whoa, we better have peace with those guys. But this is the thing. If the regime had changed in Iran, or if the regime still could change, now it could still change. I'm not ruling that out. It still could change. Let's not be too pessimistic. People could go still out in the streets when things calm down a little bit and they're not in like the being targeted by the regime. They could go out and they could overthrow this regime. It could happen. It could happen sooner rather than later. It's hard to tell. I don't want to be too pessimistic about this. But the reality is that if the regime changes in Iran, you get peace with Iran and Israel. And then Saudi Arabia certainly wants peace with Israel. And that's it. You got a new Middle East and it's over. And that was so close. So frigging close. All Trump had to do was shut his mouth for another week or two. Just shut his mouth. Let Israel clean it up. Now, Israel would have taken more casualties, as we saw. All it takes is one of these, 500-kilogram ballistic missiles to get through. One of them, less than 10% are getting through, but it's still significant. They do 10, one drops, and if it happens to drop on a residential building, people die. And I think that's why the Israelis are happy it's over, and that's why Netanyahu, I think, was eager to sign off on this. And the internal politics were good. It didn't want to drag this out and turn people against the war because of civilian casualties. But a few more days would have made a difference. And we know the missile would completely depleted on the Iranian side, slowly being depleted. Now, Israel had problems with a supply of Arrow rockets. They don't have the industrial base to produce them as fast as they were using them. And they were worried that they would run out of air defense systems. So I get it. I get why all this was done. I get the incentives that everybody had to get done. Netanyahu can declare, one of the greatest military successes in human history, and justifiably so. I worry though. According to two Israeli officials with knowledge of the intelligence, Iran actually did move the 400 kilograms, 880 pounds of enriched uranium out of Fordo, or wherever they were kept. U.S. senior officials concede they did not know the fate of Iran's stockpile of near bomb-grade uranium. Now, Iran also claimed that it had another enrichment site in a secure and vulnerable location. Experts think the site is likely south of Nantes, under the Coup-et-Colomb Gazla, a mountain nearly a mile above sea level. That means it would be buried nearly twice as deep as Fordo site. Now, nobody knows this for a fact. This is all speculation, and we're taking Iran's word for it, which we shouldn't. And then on top of that, the International Atomic Energy Agency says it does not know the whereabouts of Iran's 400-kilogram official stock of enriched uranium, which is concentrated to 60% purity, which would be easy if they had the centrifuges to get it up to 90%, and that would be enough for 10 bombs. So let's be very clear. Iran's incentives to build a bomb have just grown dramatically. Because the reality is that they just realized how vulnerable they are to Israel, how vulnerable they are to the U.S. if they don't have a bomb. And if they do have a bomb, how much power they could have. None of this could have happened if Iran had a bomb. Any one of those missiles going to Israel could have had a nuclear bomb. That's the end of Israel. So I just don't think this is over, sadly. Israel's military success is humongous. It's, as I said, one of the greatest military victories ever, one of the greatest military operations ever. Iran was thoroughly defeated. But the reality is that the threat the Iranian pose does not go away, and it doesn't look like Trump is going to be able to do anything about it. Anything about it. Now, the nuclear scientists are dead. That is good. It's going to take them a while to get people who can replace them. Maybe this time they'll just pay a bunch of money to North Korea and bring them in. Who knows what they'll do? Maybe they'll manage over the years to sneak in material from North Korea and not even have to build a North Korean bomb. And then, this is the thing I don't think Trump understands. Not that I think he understands anything. But this is not about economics. This is not about them getting rich. This is not about them being great traders. This is about them being religious fanatics. 20% of the Iranian population, or something like that, are religious fanatics who don't care about suffering, sacrifice. If it's for a cause greater than themselves, a cause Allah has given them, and that is the destruction of the state of Israel. So they're not going to stop. And I just don't see the United States or Israel mounting a second round here. This is it. It's done. It's finished. It's over. Iran, the regime, it was on the verge of being, but it was not defeated completely. It was not brought to its knees. It did not collapse. Now, it's still possible that they are significantly, dramatically weakened, both physically and reputationally, within Iran, and maybe the Iranian people will still rise up against them. The son of the Shah, Crown Prince Pahlav Reza, said today, to his Iranian compatriots, we are now moving to the final phase of our struggle. It will be hard, but the regime is weak. It is near collapse. Only we, the Iranian people, can end it. To the military, as you've given orders to lash out at the people, stand down. This is your final chance. You are being watched. We will remember who stood with the people and who committed crimes against it. To the world, do not save this corrupt, crumbling terrorist regime. At this historic moment, stand with the Iranian people. Shield them from the regime's desperate backlash. Do not prop up a regime that will soon again turn its guns, missiles, and terror towards you. Do not fear. Be bold. Victory is in our hands. I think he's overly optimistic. I don't know. It's depressing at the end of the day. It's depressing because it was so close, and because this idiot Trump, the president of the United States, he's brilliant strategist when it comes to politics, and he's a horrible, awful strategist when it comes to geopolitics. And he has just given a lifeline to this regime, and his comments about oil and so on have just made the regime that little bit stronger. His comments about China made them that much stronger. So, I saw some pictures of the holes into Puerto. Puerto is destroyed. But, the question is, did they have one other place that they were hiding stuff that Israel and the U.S. didn't know? Now, given the level of intelligence that Israel exhibited during this operation, that is truly hard to believe. It's truly hard to believe that there is something going on that Israel didn't know of. It's possible, but it's hard to believe. So I actually don't think Iran has the capacity to build nuclear bombs right now. But I also do think that they're not going to give up on trying to develop those nuclear bombs. I think that is going to be ongoing for the Iranians. All right. Let's see. Get that. The Israeli opposition is also praising this operation to the hilt. According to Yair Lapid, the opposition leader says Operation Rising Lion in Iran is one of the most glorious operations in history of warfare. That's all true. I salute the security forces and also the government. We paid a heavy price, including this morning in Beersheba, but the people of Israel remain united around the goal. Now, we must turn the military achievement into a diplomatic one, to demand and obtain an agreement that guarantees Iran will never be nuclear and will dismantle its missile program, to bring the hostages home and end the war in Gaza, to set Israel on a new path. I just don't see how they're going to get an agreement that guarantees Iran will never go nuclear and will dismantle its missile program. Who is going to deliver an agreement like that? Now, maybe I'll have to change my mind. Maybe Trump has another brilliant maneuver up his sleeve, and maybe the mullahs are ready to actually sign such a deal. But I'll believe it when I see it, and you will hear about it if I see it. I will not hide it from you. I will let you know if that actually happens. In the meantime, MAGA is, as I said, uniting around Trump. Bannon today was furious about Israel. How dare Netanyahu even consider not doing exactly what Donald Trump told him to do? How dare Netanyahu force Trump into a position where he had to call him up and get him to turn the planes around? Indeed, Bannon went as far as to call Israel a protectorate of the United States. And how dare a protectorate of the United States not listen, not behave to what the President of the United States tells them? So Israel is the villain here, not Saudi Arabia. For these MAGA types, Israel is the villain. Everybody who celebrates Trump, all these pro-Israeli people who think Trump is the Messiah, Trump is Israel's big friend, Trump is amazing and fantastic, the best president ever for Israel, and so on. Beware. There's still 3.5 more years to go. Beware, particularly beware given Bannon's influence. Supposedly Bannon's been on the phone with Trump constantly over the last 10 days and helped him strategize whatever strategy was going on. One more thing about, remember the sleeper cells, the Iranian sleeper cells that were supposed to be in the U.S.? And I said, I think the U.S. has a handle on it. I think the intelligence agencies pretty much have it. ICE actually did something positive. Maybe for the first time in its existence. I hate ICE. ICE is I hate them with a real passion. Anyway, here's the good thing they did. ICE arrested 11 Iranians, illegal aliens, over the weekend, including an alleged Iranian army sniper who was carrying an Islamic Republic of Iran army ID when he was arrested in Locust, Alabama. So they know who these Iranians are. They've been tracking them. FBI's been on them, and they sent ICE to take care of them and to kick them out of the country. They probably don't have any criminal charges they can bring against them in the sense of terrorism or anything like that, but at least get them out of the country so as to reduce the risk is something that is relatively easy to do. So I think that was done. One less potential sleeper cell out there. All right. Let's turn to an almost more depressing topic. I mean, here's the thing about Iran. It's depressing, but it's also amazing. So it's kind of, I'm torn, right? I mean, awe for the Israeli Air Force and for the Mossad and and for military intelligence. Military intelligence I was part of, so I feel a little, collectivistic pride. I'm kidding, but I know what they went. I know the kind of intelligence they brought to the table. I know the kind of work they went through. I mean, we did it in very primitive conditions back then. No satellites, and no computers, or no real computers. A lot of by hand, and a lot of just people glaring at real. We used to, real film, trying to identify, stuff on film, which is not how it's done today, and no computer help to do that. But it just is. They did a great job. They should be very proud. And again, one of the great military victories of all time. And at the same time, Trump. This is who we have. Trump. All right, and it's good that Trump went after Fordo, and it's good that he went after Nataz and Istefan. It's good that he basically gave Israel a free hand up until yesterday. But unlike what Kamala would have done or what others would have done, but then he had to be Trump. Right. All right. Let's turn to the election in New York City, which I think is happening. The primary is tomorrow. The primary for the New York candidacy and for the Democratic candidacy, and of course, whoever the Democrat is, likely to win the election. Let me just encourage New Yorkers, if you're out there, please go vote. Please go vote. If you live in New York, if you have the ability to vote in New York, go to New York to vote. If you're a Republican, register as a Democrat. Do something so you can vote in the Democratic primary tomorrow. It's a huge consequence to this country. It's a huge consequence to anybody who loves New York. I can't think of a more consequential election for New York. And look, New York is a symbol. It is the symbol of, to some extent, of capitalism for the world. Just as San Francisco and Los Angeles have moved to the center, have abandoned the crazy left, New York is about to embrace a crazy left candidate, a Muslim, a person who is a committed and declared socialist. This is somebody who co-founded his school's first Students for Justice in Palestine. This is an organization that is supportive of Hamas. This is somebody who believes that the struggle for Palestinian liberation is at the core of his politics. Was and continues to be. New York, which has a massive population of Jews. I mean, it's just unthinkable to me that some of them would vote for this monster, and I'm sure some of them will. Some of them will. The anti-Israel or the leftist Jews who think Israel's gone too far, and then the leftist Jews who are socialist are going to vote for this monster. So he is. He's a real monster. Now, his economic policies, again, monstrous. We're talking about the government having, starting grocery stores to compete with private grocery stores. Now, if that could even get off the ground, I doubt it could, and I doubt they could do a good job. But just imagine the grocery stores taking a loss because they have a government treasury behind them, lower prices, and basically bankrupting a bunch of family-run small businesses that run grocery stores. And then getting the idea, well, if we can do grocery stores, why can't we do other stores? We can sell everything. Government can do everything. Central planning works so well. This is a guy who claims to be for abundance, for the abundance thing, but is lying about that. The reality is that he has no intention to promote a real abundance program that would actually increase, for example, the amount of housing in New York City, and is for things like rent control, freezing rents where they are today, Hopefully, everybody will increase their rents before the election happens, so they price it in for the next few years, which would, at the potential, unless people actually increase their rents like that, have the potential to basically, destroy the rental market in New York City. Doing the opposite of what Milei did to rental property in Argentina. Now, how does he get so successful? Well, one of the reasons is that this guy has energy, passion, belief. He believes in what he's doing, as compared to, corrupt Como, who's just gliding on his name, as compared to other, people, and compared to people generally on the right who just not real believers, the cynics, the pragmatists. This guy believes. And as a consequence of belief, he's capitalizing on the thousands of young people who've gone through our phenomenal, wonderful, amazing educational system, who believe socialism is cool and good and would save the country. And as a consequence, he has 50,000 volunteers who are going door to door, who are invested in this, who believe. And they have probably got more than, they've got the passion, they've got the motivation, they've got the energy, and they're doing the work. Suppose they will knock on a total by Monday, a total of 1.5 million doors, 1.5 million households. And of course, a poll released on yesterday, showed Mamdani prevailing over Como. Basically in the 8th round of ranked choice voting. So it's ranked choice. You rank your first and second choice. It's a complicated system, and they have to keep doing. They drop the lowest. They keep rolling the lowest out and taking the votes that you put in second or third if you vote. So don't waste your vote on some. Just vote for Como. He sucks. He's awful. He's horrible. He's corrupt. He's the establishment in the Democratic Party that is ugh. But you can't get Mamdani to get in, and the only way to not getting in is to vote for Como. And then, and your second and third choice, vote for anybody but Mamdani. Anyway, right now, his support over the last 5 months has surged by 30 points. Como is basically stuck. Whoever he got in the beginning is getting now. And Mamdani has gone up by 30 points. And he looks like he's going to win. So I encourage you, if you live in New York, to go out and vote. And, and do your bit. It's going to be close, I guess. Do your bit to make this happen. Ranked choice voting is complicated, so you never know who's going to win, but it's going to depend on who comes out and who votes. Right now, who is Mamdani, winning with? Winning with. It's kind of funny because, he's winning with he's winning with whites. Mamdani is winning whites 61-39 versus Como. Blacks are going with Como 62-38. Hispanics are going with Como 60-40. Asians, huge. Asians are massively on Mamdani's side, 79-21. I don't know who those Asians are. Are they Chinese Asians? Are they Indian? Are they Arabs? I don't know what Arabs count as. Men are tilting towards Mamdani, 56-44. Women, Como is leading. Now that I don't understand. Women tend to be a lot more left-wing than men. Why are men going with Mamdani? It doesn't make any sense. Men tend to be more right. Women tend to be more left. You'd expect women to be overwhelmingly pro-Mamdani. He's also supposedly young and good-looking. Here's the other breakdown, which is indicative. College. If you went to college, you're with Mamdani, 62 to 38. If you're no college, it's 61-39 for Como. That is more consistent. College equals more left wing, but it's not consistent with the men-women. So I don't understand the men-women thing. That's the one that surprises me. Age. 18 to 49, Mamdani wins by 67 to 33. Young people in New York, you should be embarrassed. You should be ashamed of yourselves. We'll get to why this is in a minute. 50 to 60 plus, overwhelmingly go to Como, right? So what's going on here? Basically, this is our universities. University trained, educated, young people, crazy leftists who think socialism is the solution to their problems. Rent control is a destroyer of rent. It's a destroyer of housing. It reduces supply, it raises prices ultimately, and reduces dramatically quality because nobody has an incentive to invest in rental property. Grocery stores run by the government is a waste of money, has the potential to drive out mom and pop stores, even more so than Walmart. Walmart at least provides a service and makes a profit. And, this is also a guy who will shrink the police. I can guarantee that if he shrinks the police, if he actually goes through with it, crime in New York will go up. He wants to replace police with social workers in many kind of environments. That is unbelievably destructive. This is a candidate from hell. The candidate from hell. He makes, Kamala and Biden and the Clintons look normal. I mean, he's making Andrew Cuomo look like okay. So again, if you actually live in New York, go out and vote. Your city depends on it. Your city depends. He will be bad. He'll be worse than de Blasio, and de Blasio was really bad for the city. It's unfortunate that Adams, who was corrupt, but has been, I think a decent mayor, is not the guy who is leading here, and that's because of the corruption charges against him, right? It hasn't stopped Como. It has not stopped Como. All right, I wanted to give you a quick update on the story we talked about yesterday about the land sales, and I explained to you about MAGA and the left against selling federal land and how this was a proposal by Senator Lee. All he wanted to do was sell 0.5 to 0.75% of all the land, and it's nothing. It's a drop in the ocean. I think they should sell, really 100% of the land. But how the nativists, the blood and soil right-wing Republicans and the environmental greenies all oppose this. Well, now it's got, now it's been killed completely. Basically, the Senate parliamentarian is this office that basically decides, supposedly nonpartisan, it decides whether any particular item in the bill, in the big reconciliation bill, qualifies. Remember, the reconciliation bill is a budget bill. It's the only bill that can pass on a simple majority, that cannot be filibustered. And so there are qualifications about what can and cannot count. They have to have, I guess, tax or spending implications. And the parliamentarian has ruled that the sale of land does not have those implications, and therefore is not a legit item to include in the reconciliation bill. So it's out. Now, even before that statement was made, Mike Lee, Republican from Utah, was already talking about really, really changing the bill in a big way and minimizing the amount of land sold and where it would be sold and what locations it would be sold to try to appease the blood and soil crowd, right? So it looks like that's dead, and it looks like the idea of selling, the land that the federal government owns in order to raise money to reduce the debt is an idea that is now completely dead and is gone. This is an interesting story. Where was this? Yeah. So, President Trump's promise is to bring manufacturing back to the United States and to grow the number of people working in manufacturing and to grow the manufacturing base in the U.S. And he, this is the promise, and this is a promise every politician pretty much since Reagan has made. We run manufacturing, we love manufacturing. This is the top primary concern that we have. This is what we want to do. Well, here's the problem. And I've talked about this many times when we've talked about tariffs and manufacturing and all this stuff. Who's going to work? Who's going to do the manufacturing jobs? I mean, as baby boomers retire, very few young people want to go and work in manufacturing jobs. Indeed, as we speak, before this big boom in manufacturing happens, there are 400,000 or about jobs, manufacturing jobs, that are currently unfilled. They can't find people for them. Now, this is, by the way, only going to grow for two reasons. One, those illegals who are working in manufacturing jobs, who we're kicking out and sending away, and the Supreme Court just allowed the Trump administration to continue deporting them, the violent ones at least, to to any country they want, basically. But who's going to take these jobs? The illegal immigrants that have taken some of them out, the baby boomers who used to work these jobs are retiring. I'm at the tail end of the baby boomers, and I hit retirement age next year. That's it. The baby boomers are done. Who's going to take their jobs? There's nobody. Young people are not going to do this. Legal immigration is halted. And if it comes back, it's going to be focused in on high end instead of, let the market determine. And that's it. So, the big problem is, there are lots of problems with the idea of bringing manufacturing back, including that it's incredibly inefficient. It'll raise prices and it'll reduce quality. It's just not efficient, and it will reduce innovation and take away capital from being invested in truly innovative, groundbreaking, forward-looking industries, and instead bring back manufacturing jobs that don't need to be here, shouldn't be in the United States. Nobody needs them in the United States, and nobody wants to do the work. So, the whole goal of bringing manufacturing back is a mercantilist, really, from a perspective of economics, it's a barbarian solution, a barbaric solution. It makes no sense. But there you have it. That's not going to stop anybody. All right, a couple of things. Just interesting story about so Colombia, the country, not the university, the country, Colombia in South America, for decades fought basically a civil war with terrorists, communist terrorists, leftist terrorists who wanted to take over the country. About a decade ago, they signed some kind of peaceful agreement and brought the terrorists and these communists into the democratic process. Now they have a leftist, a real leftist running Colombia. I think the Colombians are regretting that. I don't think they'll elect another leftist for a while. But anyway, during those years, the Colombian military was pretty big. It was well trained, and it fought for decades. It fought these guerrillas, these fighters, these terrorists in the Colombian jungles. And that means there were a lot of well-trained Colombian well-trained Colombian military personnel. And of course, the war's over, and the Colombian military has shrunk significantly, and now they don't have work. And the question is, now what? Now what? What they're doing is they're being hired by Mexican cartels. They're flooding into Mexico. They're bringing with them a real expertise in military operations and the use of heavy military equipment. It's one of the reasons you're seeing the cartels become even more militarized than they were. They now have people to back it up, right? Last week, the Mexican government arrested 12 Colombian citizens in connection with the death of 8 soldiers from an anti-personnel mine in a section in the center of the country. 9 of those arrested were former military personnel. 3 of the others received military training. We're seeing more and more and more Colombians being arrested and Colombians flying into Mexico and participating. Some of them turned around at the airport, but many of them making it to working for the cartels who are offering them a lot of money. And, these people are experts in explosives and experts in weapon systems and how to use modern weapon systems. This is right on America's border. These cartels are becoming little armies, little military forces. Mexico doesn't seem to want to do anything about it. Just to give you a sense, in 2008, there was an estimate that there were about 12,000 mercenaries in Latin America. By 2018, the estimate was that there were 2.4 million mercenaries in Latin America. 2.4 million mercenaries. Now that's a little army. That's a big army. That's a huge army. And the cartels have the money to pay them. Unlike the Russian government, the cartels have a steady income stream and pretty low expenses. They can afford to pay mercenaries a lot of money. And it basically provides a huge amount of firepower to organized crime. Again, organized crime that's right at our southern border. This is right now from CNN, so take it for what it's worth. It's depressing. All right. The U.S. military strikes on 3 of Iran's nuclear facilities last weekend did not destroy the core components of the country's nuclear program and likely only set it back by months, according to early U.S. intelligence assessment that was described by 4 people briefed on it. The assessment, which has not been previously reported, was produced by the Defense Intelligence Agency. This is, of course, Tulsi Gabbard's area. The Pentagon's intelligence arm, which reports into Tulsi. It is based on a battle damage assessment conducted by U.S. Central Command in the aftermath of the U.S. strikes, one of the sources said. I think Israeli media is also reporting this. According to CNN, American intelligence estimates that the attacks set Iran's nuclear program back a few months, but did not destroy it. And indeed now, you could argue, have made Iran much more motivated to actually develop the nuclear weapons. I mean, the fact that Trump stopped the war when he did is going to be one of the great, unforced errors, one of the great tragedies. Because the reality is that if he'd waited a few days, gotten the intelligence assessment, they could have gone back. Now he's not going to go back. Now he's not going to admit it. But they could have gone back, or they could have sent the Israeli commandos in, or they could have done something else. They could have done something else. Supposedly, the report has been leaked to multiple outlets, not just this CNN. New York Times has a story about it, and there were a bunch of other places that are writing about it. Now, whether it's true or not, I do not know. But why not wait? Why rush to a ceasefire? Because you're rushing to get your coalition back together and to show that you are a president of peace, peace above all else. All right. We'll keep that as a positive story to end the show. All right. Drones have been shown to be a powerful weapon, particularly in Ukraine, but even in this latest operation with Iran. Both Iran is flying drones, Israel is flying drones everywhere. We know that the number one producer of drones in the world, by far, nobody's even close, is China, who can produce millions of them. Well, Taiwan is trying to build the drone industry, and they're kind of panicking in trying to build the drone industry to be able to defend themselves against Chinese drones and maybe to use them as offensive against China. But they're struggling. The reality is that the Taiwanese want to build a drone industry that is not dependent on China, where they can build it entirely in Taiwan. But if they do that, these drones are going to be much, much more expensive than the Chinese drones, and there's no market for them. They can sell them to their own military, but it's very hard to develop, to compete, to be innovative when the only demand is from your own military and there's nowhere else to send them. The reality is that even in Ukraine and elsewhere where people are building drones, they are using components made in China. That's how the drones are getting cheap. Even if you buy a drone in the United States made by a U.S. company, it probably has Chinese components. That's even true of some of the defense drones built by U.S. startups. This is a huge problem. Taiwanese are probably the best in the world at dealing with this problem, given that they have a high-tech industry locally. They have the technology, they have the labor, they have the manufacturing capabilities. But to compete with DJI or to compete with the Chinese right now is incredibly difficult. And they are trying to build an army of drones focused in on military applications without relying on parts from China. And if they can figure that out and do it cheaply and effectively and on scale means hundreds of thousands, if not millions a year, then they could really change the balance of power and really help the United States, because the U.S. could buy drones from Taiwan, instead of from American drones who are going to be a lot smaller numbers and also probably still depend a little bit on components from China. It's going to be interesting to see. It's something to watch. Taiwan try to create this homegrown industry and be able to compete. It so far has not managed to do it, but neither has anybody else, including the United States. Nobody has managed to match the Chinese in drone development. Now, maybe the Israelis have shown that is not necessary. That you can actually be successful vis-a-vis militarily without drones or without kind of swarms of drones, large amounts of drones. But we will see. Anyway, just to end this on a positive, right? And positives either come from science, technology, or Argentina. This one's from Argentina. Argentina is reporting that its annual growth rate for the last quarter was 5.8%. 5.8%. Now, that's annualized. That's not per quarter, but that's what happens if you extrapolate for the year. That is actually higher than China's. Now, China's overstated anyway, so China's actually lower than this. So this is overstated. But China's is 5.4%. So Argentina right now is one of the fastest growing economies in the world. Congratulations again to Milei, to the people running Argentina's economic policy. They're doing it at pace. They're doing it. They're not rushing into it. They're doing it. I think they're doing it right now. Hopefully, if they win the elections in October, and the fact that they have now, the Argentine economy is doing so well, the fact that the Argentinian economy is doing so well increases the probability that they will win that election. And if they will win that election, then, you're going to see a lot more reforms and even greater success in Argentina, potentially really, growing into a rich country. So a country in which people are rich. The country cannot be rich in and of itself. A country in which people can be rich, which is going to be fantastic. So the one bright spot in the world out there is Argentina. Let's hope it have a positive effect on South America more broadly over time. And if that happens, that would be amazing. Anyway, that is the news. That is the news on Tuesday, June 24th. And I'm sorry. It hasn't been as great of a news as it has been in previous days. But you can thank your president, our president. You guys elected him. I didn't vote for him. Some of you guys elected him, but you can thank our president for screwing this up in such a dramatic and significant way, I think. And I really hope that these intelligence assessments, the United States intelligence sucks. I want to know what the Israelis think. But let's hope these intelligence assessments are wrong. Fake, false, not true. We'll see what the Israelis say. All right, everybody, let's go to your Super Chat questions. We're doing quite well in the Super Chat, so thank you guys. There's still a way to go, but we are doing well for the first hour. We've made it up the first hour. We're well into the second hour. We're halfway in terms of fundraising for the second hour, so not a lot more to go to get there. $145 to get to the second hour goal. So, less than halfway. We're less than halfway there. Let's see. Last presidential candidate I voted for was Mitt Romney, since somebody's asking. I did vote for Mitt Romney. Starting in 2018, couldn't vote anymore. So in 2016, I couldn't vote for Hillary or for Trump. Yeah, and it didn't matter. I lived in California. Why waste your time? Is my view. All right. Let's see. All right, let's talk about our sponsors. We have two sponsors. We're about to get a third. I'll be talking about our third sponsor next few days. I'm going to have a video from with an interview with the sponsor with an exciting tax-related product that could, if any of you guys are about to sell a business, or you have a big, 401k with a lot of capital gains, but I mean a lot, right? We're talking seven figures. We're talking the millions of dollars. If you have millions of dollars of capital gains, if you are in a position where you are going to owe the government a huge amount of money because you've got massive capital gains, or you're selling a company and you're going to get capital gains or anything like that, hold off until you hear about my new sponsor, because literally, they will be able to legally, 100%, nothing shady here. I wouldn't support anything shady, and this is finance. This is vetted. This works. I vetted the model, and it's one of and ultimately the product is held by one of the most respected financial institutions in the United States. A way to basically get rid of all your capital gains tax liability, or to get rid of most of it. So this is a financial tool for those of you who have millions of dollars of capital gains. Now I don't know if this would apply to gold or to capital gains of gold, or to capital gains in Bitcoin or capital gains like that. But it definitely applies to capital gains in a business, in stocks or in a business. And if you're in that situation, I'm going to rock your world, because I'm suddenly going to take you from a position where you're going to have to pay hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars in taxes, to a position where you have to pay, I'm not going to say zero, but minimal, much, much less, potentially saving you 80, 90% of your taxes, your tax liability, 100% legally. It will not apply to real estate. That is the one area it will definitely not apply. Real estate has its own way they tax. This is all U.S., right? This is only for U.S. Real estate is completely different. The way it's taxed, the way you count capital losses and capital gains, it's completely different animal. So we're talking about a company. We're talking about stocks. We're talking about financial assets, as far as I can tell. Now, I need to look into gold and Bitcoin and things like that if you're curious. But anyway, I will be releasing the video maybe tomorrow and talking about this more tomorrow, and then you can see the video, you can see the interview, and then you can go to the website and you can sign up and get more information and talk to them and figure it out. And if you want to talk to me about it, happy to talk to you about it as well, offline, outside of the show. But it's a product that makes sense to me. If I was in that position, I would definitely do this. All right, Michael. I forgot my sponsors. Alex Epstein, alexepstein.substack.com. Alex, the number one voice in the world out there, the number one mind in the world out there about energy, about the grid, about fossil fuels, about climate change and environmentalism, and heavily embedded in what's going on right now in the battle about the Inflation Reduction Act, Biden's horrific bill that basically increased subsidies dramatically on solar and wind, and Republicans who don't want to eliminate those subsidies, who don't want to get rid of them. It's just unbelievable. And Alex is on Capitol Hill. He's in Washington, D.C. He's talking to senators constantly. He got the House. He really got the House to pass a decent bill, not perfect, but decent with regard to these cuts. And the Senate is going to completely reverse all that. And he's fighting tooth and nail. You guys need to support him, and you need to get educated about this. And to do that, you need to go to Alex Epstein, substack.com, sign up, and get involved. Get involved. Call your senator, write to them, whatever Alex tells you to do it. Right? He is great. Is it better than investing in opportunity zones? Yeah, but again, if your investment is in, because if the capital gains is non-real estate capital gains, then it's, as far as I know, it's better than investing in opportunity zones. Yes. I'm not an expert in opportunity zones, like, granted. So you will have to, why don't you learn about this opportunity, Alex, and then figure out, you can do the analysis of whether it's better or not. And then finally, the Eminent Institute is a sponsor of the show. The Eminent Institute is hosting OCON, Objectivist Conferences, the biggest objectivist conference in the world, in Boston, July 1 through 5. You cannot register anymore for in-person attendance, but you can register for online attendance. You can watch all the talks for free. Not for free. You have to pay. But you can watch all the talks online, live. That's what I meant to say, live. So I encourage you to do that, and go to AynRand.org/start here. AynRand.org/start here. AynRand.org/start here. And sign up for OCON. Sign up for OCON, virtual OCON. Now you can get a 10% discount on the rate, on the fee, by putting in 25 Y Yaron, B Brook, S 10. 25 YBS 10, and that'll give you a 10% discount. All right, and of course, I shouldn't forget, subscribe if you're not a subscriber. Subscribe if you're not a subscriber. It helps a huge amount, and you'll find out about new shows, and like the show before you leave, because liking really helps the algorithm. It helps promote the show. If you want to help promote the show, if you want to get the show more visibility, then please consider clicking that like button. Subscriptions up. Not, yesterday we got almost 100 new subscriptions. I think a lot of those were from Australia, because I did Sky News there. But anyway, still looking for another 100. So we're now at 39,758. So we have 242 to reach the symbolic 40,000 subscribers, which is, that's fantastic. 40,000 would be really good, and great step towards 50, which is a great step towards 100. So let's do it. Let's do it this summer. By the end of the summer, let's be at 40,000, or maybe at the end of next month, let's be at 40,000. Why wait? Don't have to wait till the end of August. Let's do it at the end of July. Let's make it over the next 2 months. For that, I need anybody who's not a subscriber listening right now to click the subscription button, and that includes all of you people who are listening afterwards, after the fact. And some of you who are on a podcast somewhere, who listen to me on the podcast, come to YouTube, or are listening on Twitter right now, X as it is known. Come over to YouTube, press the subscriber button, and then you can go back to where you came from, if you want. Support the show on Patreon, patreon.com, Yaron Brook Show, and put in a monthly amount, and which that'd be fantastic. That'd be really, really great. That's a great way to support the show. It's the best way to support the show in a sense because it's predictable. It comes in on a monthly basis, on a regular basis. All right, Michael, $50. Thank you, Michael. Israel is fighting for its existence. The regime in Iran is fighting for their ideology of murdering non-believers of Islam and gaining total world submission to Islam. Trump and most other people are not able to grasp these obvious facts. Yes, I don't think it's able. I think they don't want to. I think they don't want to grasp these things. I think they'd rather evade. They'd rather focus on their short-term emotionalistic goals of whatever, of coming out a hero, of uniting the Republican Party, of getting a Nobel Prize, whatever the thing of the moment is for Trump. He'd much rather focus on that. And that is exactly what's happening. Trump it's not that he can't conceive of this. And it's some of his advisors clearly know this. And certainly in some recess of his brain, he knows this. But it doesn't matter to him because so what? Why should he care? What matters to him is those short-term goals that he's striving towards. James, also $50. Thank you, James. I mean, you guys are fantastic, and you're getting me to the goal really, really quickly by doing these $50 questions. I should also thank the stickers in a minute. All right, let's see. James, I grew up around unpredictable bullies and thugs like Trump who would say vicious things to make people uncomfortable and nervous. In order to avoid that feeling of discomfort and nervousness, people will try and please him by doing what he wants. Yeah, I mean, that's absolutely right. And I'm sorry that you had to experience that. I'm sorry you had to grow up with that. And I'm glad you have overcome it and kind of distanced yourself from it. As I'm sure you have, but yes, I mean it's that kind of unpredictable bullies, and I know other people who grown up around unpredictable bullies. You live in fear because you can't predict what they're going to do. It creates fear and anxiety, constant fear and anxiety, and for a lot of people that means trying to please him as the bully as much as possible, because that is the only way you can hope to try to somehow avoid the bulliness, the anger, the lashing out and whatever. So horrible way to grow up, horrible way to be in a household with somebody like that. But yeah, there are a lot of people like that, and again, I'm glad you grew out of it. You thought yourself out of that situation, and Trump is definitely one of those bullies. There's just no question about it. It's just people just want to appease him, and Netanyahu is definitely one of those people, and a lot of the Israeli public media, politicians are people like that, and a lot of Americans, just and bullies can be very charismatic, and people rally and they form little gangs around them. And MAGA is the gang of the bully Trump. Mary Eileen, no deal with Iran means they feel no obligation whatsoever to honor any deal they make. They see Trump as one big sucker. I think that's right. Netanyahu should not have turned the planes around. There must be regime change. I feel sick. Yeah, I mean, don't feel sick. Whatever happens, it's set the Iranians back quite a bit. Israel has proved its capabilities and its capacity vis-a-vis the Iranians. They will think hard before messing with Israel. But yes, it really is sickening. I'm with you. I feel sick too. It's sickening. Christos, the ceasefire is another proof, I believe, that the West is sadly not willing to stand up and fully destroy evil. Absolutely. We are now seeing evidence of a complete abandonment of reason, and I fear what comes next. You still optimistic? I mean, what comes next? I mean, here's the thing to be optimistic about. The one thing this war clearly, unequivocally showed us was the complete and utter impotence of our enemy. Now, it's true. We can't defeat them. We stop. We don't fully destroy evil and so on. But evil is so pathetically weak. It wouldn't take much, in other words. It wouldn't take much. So, I'm optimistic about the fact that I don't think evil can win because they're just so bad at it. It's sad because I want the good to win. I don't just want evil not to win. I want the good to win. And that is not happening, and it's not going to happen until we have a real philosophical change. And so it would have shocked me, surprised me, really, although, I was tempted to think that, this time we were going to do it. This time would be different. This time we would destroy evil. Because the philosophical change has not happened. The very fact that we had an election with Kamala on one side and Trump on the other proves that the philosophical change has not happened. And the reality is that evil is so impotent and weak that it is likely to destroy itself. We can't destroy it, but it's likely to destroy itself. It's just like the Soviet Union. The Soviet Union was not destroyed by the West. It did not die because of Reagan. It died because of its own contradictions. It died because of its own pathetic nature. It died because ultimately its population refused to continue living under those conditions. And that's the hope for Iran. The hope for Iran is that they don't continue to depend on the United States and Israel or whoever, somebody from the outside to save them. They take it into their own hands and they do it. They do it. They crush it. We will see that they replace the regime or at least weaken the regime so much that nothing happens. Clark, Trump is trying to appease the pro-Israel evangelical by bombing Iran while simultaneously pleasing his anti-Semitic conspiracy theory base. The constant lies and contradictions will drive a man insane. Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. You called it. He's trying to have both. He's trying to unite MAGA again around the idea of strength and peace, strength and appeasement, strength and whatever, strength and non-interventionist, all at the same time. And the victim of this will be Israel. Israel. And the victim of this would be future generations that have to do the same thing over again. Or maybe it won't be future generations. Maybe it'll be a lot sooner than that. The Godfather. I am facing a moral pickle. There are stocks that will benefit from the U.S., Israel, Iran conflicts. Is it moral to invest and profit from these companies? How does an objectivist rationalize this conflict? I mean, look, you can't control this conflict. You buying into these stocks is not going to enhance the conflict. I don't know which companies you're looking at. The conflict itself is not bad. That is, the conflict itself is actually good. The U.S., Israel are in conflict with Iran. And to the extent that they're fighting Iran, that's a good thing, not a bad thing. In that sense, I'm not a warmonger, but I'm pro-war when war is necessary. So if it's a just war, if it's a good war, I don't see why not to benefit from that war financially by, for example, I don't know, buying the stocks of weapons manufacturers. I don't know. So it really depends on what exactly it's doing. What you don't want to do is sanction evil. You don't want to sanction an evil war. You don't want to sanction evil behavior. But to sanction a just war, I don't think is a problem. To benefit from a just war is not a problem. I don't see them all a problem. Eric, my fiance and I are getting married this September and are thinking about honeymooning in Puerto Rico, San Juan. Any suggestions on places we should stay or things we should do while here? We're both foodies. I mean, the real question is how much money do you want to spend, right? I mean, so it's hard for me to give you recommendations without knowing that. There are places on the island that cost, over $1,000 a night that are fantastic. The Ritz-Carlton in Dorado is a world-class resort that is truly amazing and has great restaurants on property. If you want to stay in San Juan, it depends on whether you want to stay in like more of a boutique hotel, and there's a couple I could recommend here in San Juan, or you want to stay at a large full facility hotel, and probably the Vanderbilt is the best one of those. But there's also a St. Regis hotel south of, or is it south? East of San Juan. It depends whether you want to be in the city or outside of the city. And then when it comes to restaurants, I'm happy to give you a list. I think the best thing, Eric, is send me an email with what you're looking for, and how much. I don't need a budget, but kind of what range you're looking to spend, and I'm happy to give you recommendations. Restaurants are easy, and hotels again depends on the budget, but happy to do that as well. So, yeah, just drop me a note, Yaron@yaronbrookshow.com, and I'll try to get back to you. Thanks for the support, and congratulations, congratulations. Also, what time of year? Because Puerto Rico, it depends when you're coming here. It's not always a good time to be here. So, if you're coming January to April, that's great. If you're coming September, October, don't come. You don't want to be here when a hurricane hits or something like that. So you really have to think about when you're going to be here. So I don't know when you're getting married. That would be a factor as well. All right, we are still $100 short of our 2-hour goal. We've got half an hour to get there, so $100 in $100 in half an hour is very doable. I do want to thank some of our stickers. John, thank you. John Bales and John Glue. Roland, thank you. Who else do we have here? I know we have several. Barbara, thank you. Gail, thank you. Esoteric Dichotomy, thank you. And Jonathan Honing, as always, thank you. So, I think I got everybody. If I didn't get you, thank you anyway. So apologize for not catching you. As I said, we're about $100 short of our second-hour goal. So if you would like to support the show value for value, then please come in with a sticker, any amount from 99 cents to, $1,000, $500 is the max you can do here, would be amazing. And what else? And if you want to ask a question, please come in with a question, particularly looking for people who can do maybe 50s, 20s, 100s, so that we can get we can get to the goal quickly and get that over with. I Like Numbers says, wedding is in September. I would not recommend coming on a honeymoon to Puerto Rico in September. It's too risky. It's hot. It's humid, and there's too much potential for hurricanes, or significant or like tropical storms. September is a good month to go to California, to go to the West Coast, to go to Hawaii, to go to Europe, but it's not a great time to actually come to Puerto Rico. RDF, thank you. RDF just did $2. We could do a bunch of people doing $2. That would be fun. $2. Just all of you. Yeah, we got 200 watching, each doing $2. That would be amazing. All right, Remo. Are there romantic movies starring Richard Gere you recommend watching? Sure. I mean, a lot of the romantic movies with Richard Gere are fun. What's the one where he's the Navy guy, Navy flyer? Is he a Navy flyer? And she works in a factory, and It's a romantic movie, famous romantic movie from the past. I definitely like the one where he's like this. He's a takeover artist. He's like and she's a prostitute. What was that one? So those two are ones that come to mind. Officer and a Gentleman. That's fun as a romantic movie. And what's the other one? What's the one with the Pretty Woman? Pretty Woman is the other one. So Pretty Woman, Officer and a Gentleman are both, fun, romantic movies that are enjoyable, definitely enjoyable to watch. Definitely enjoyable to watch. So encourage you to do that. Mary Eileen came in with $2. Thank you, Mary Eileen. See, this is good. This is working. Yeah, enjoy. I'm sure there are others. I just can't remember them. Maybe other people in the chat have recommendations for romantic movies with Richard Gere. Remo. Of my three favorite actors, Christian Bale, Denzel Washington, and Tom Hanks, who do you think is the best? I mean, my favorite of those is Denzel Washington. It's probably Denzel Washington, Tom Hanks, Christian Bale in that order. Tom Hanks has probably done the best movies, probably done the most movies. Also like Christian Bale. But yeah, I think Denzel Washington, in terms of actors, is my favorite. But all three are really great. It's a good list. And this would be modern actors. I would include a bunch of other actors if we went back a while. Let's see. Somebody says Hawaii isn't cheap. It's not. Hawaii is expensive to do a honeymoon in Hawaii. It's also difficult to get to if you're on the East Coast. But Hawaii's getting cheaper. Hawaii's past its peak, I think. Liam, a ceasefire. After a crumbling regime, a war we were winning, and a chance to change the Middle East forever, is this how it ends? It's a catastrophe. Yeah, this is how it ends. This is Donald Trump. All those people who said, well, now are you going to say something positive about Donald Trump? And I did, and, it took me 24 hours to regret it, right? Just shows that I've identified the character of Donald Trump. I've identified what drives him and what motivates him, and that is just not going to change. That's just who he is, and nothing good can come of that kind of human being. Nothing good can come of that kind of character. And you want to call me Trump derangement syndrome? Go ahead. I don't care. That is the reality. This is a bad human being with a corrupt, psychology and a corrupt mind. And nothing positive can come of that mind. There might be momentary things. There might be particular decisions, particular concretes that are positive in a sense. And everything else will undermine that and undercut that and destroy it. Hopper Campbell. I woke up this morning to Trump literally using the F word while condemning Israel. Yeah, I saw that. Me too. I didn't wake up to it, but I did see it. Michael, Trump seems to be getting more and more stressed and unstable. Is it possible he gets impeached after the Democrats win the midterm? No. Who would impeach him? Who is going to impeach him? I mean, if they didn't impeach him after January 6th, what is he going to have to do in order to impeach? I mean, there's nothing he could do that would cause the Republicans to impeach him. And as he said, long time ago, he could stand in the middle of Fifth Avenue and shoot somebody dead, and his people would still vote for him. There's just no impeachment possible. And it's not clear the Democrats will win the midterms. Look at the Democrats. Look at what's happening in New York. If those are the kind of candidates Democrats are going to put up, they're going to get crushed again. They're going to get crushed. Martin, thank you for the 13 Swedish krona. And Mary Elaine RDF, I thanked you already. Yes, people are coming in with those stickers. I appreciate that. Not your average algorithm. Trump has zero strategy. He is just as likely to stop attacking as he is to go full steam ahead. His only principle is based on taking whatever side is perceived as winning to make him look good. Yeah, I mean, it was all about making him look good. And it was all about appeasing both sides of his Republican constituency. Not your average algorithm. The Islamic Republic of Iran needs to be overthrown, not just temporarily set back. Yes, although remember, they were unbelievably weak. Just remember how weak they were. I mean, the reason they lobbed the missiles so that they wouldn't hurt anybody on the American side is because of how weak they are. They couldn't even get many missiles up into the air against Israel in the last few days. So, hugely, amazingly weak. Alex, can you explain the morality or perhaps immorality of capital gains taxes, particularly those associated with building a family business over 3 generations? Well, there is no morality of it. It's unbelievably immoral. And particularly when it comes to building a family business and then sticking the children, grandchildren, or whatever, great-grandchildren, with a massive tax bill. It's just, people invested and thought, and by the way, pay taxes in a way, on the income that was then saved and invested in the business, which generated the capital gains. So the money that generated the capital gains is already being taxed. It's unbelievably immoral to tax people on investment gains, on the fact that they used their money productively and saved it and invested it. I mean, these people should be rewarded. It's a net plus for everybody. So if you're indeed, Alex, about to sell a family business for a significant amount of money, 7, 8, 9 figure, then yeah, you should definitely, this is a strategy for you. This is definitely the way to go, but you'll see, I'll put up the video and I'll have a short discussion of it tomorrow. And you can watch the video and then, again, contact the website and then see where it takes you from there. But this is exactly who it's for, you, a multifamily. But there is no morale. It's an immoral tax. There's a sense in which it's more immoral, and not a lot of revenue comes into the government from it. And if you're sophisticated and wealthy, you can shield yourself from it. But it's, all the effort, the thought that when it goes into building a business, and then a chunk of it just goes because the government decided to tax it. Unbelievably immoral, unbelievably wrong. At least as immoral, if not more immoral, than the income tax, which is, again, is a tax on production. It's a tax on building, creating, making. Particularly when taxes on income get to 50+%. That's just evil. Andrew, speaking of Trump, there's a certain type of person who's convinced he's brilliant but is objectively moronic. How do you think a person reaches such a level of certainty despite utter ignorance? Well, I don't think he has this level of certainty. I think he projects certainty. I think that it's all fake. It's all a guise. It's all a way to hide the lack of self-esteem and the doubt that they have about their own capabilities. I don't think it's about having certainty at all. And I think, though, and the reason they're so boastful is they're trying to convince themselves, and they're trying to put on an act to convince the world because they have a sense that the world sees them for what they really are. And then they have to exaggerate everything in order to try to get around that, try to somehow get the world to not see them for the way they were, to convince the world, no, I really am brilliant. And that, I think, is very much Trump. Lack of self-esteem, lack of confidence, and a constant, because he's a narcissist, a constant effort to try to get the world to see him the way he wants the world to see him, in spite of the fact that that is objectively untrue, that it would be a lie for people to see him that way. Hi. All right. We are $19 away from achieving our second hour goal. And we'll definitely be completing our second hour. We've got still a bunch of questions. Benjamin, what is your opinion of John Mershmeyer and how he formulates his theories? I wonder why he opposes U.S. and Israel so much. Thank you for the show. I mean, I think Mershmeyer is a hack. I think he's horrible. I don't. His logic is a morally neutral kind of. He's supposed to be a realist, so it's morally neutral. It places no focus on good guys, bad guys, or virtuous and evil. There's no that relates to nothing. No emphasis on free versus unfree. Nothing in his analysis suggests that. He is basically a hater of the West. He might be, on the payroll of the Russians. I don't know if he is, but he's admitted in the past sounding like a Russian, talking points, and he does sound like Russian talking points. But I don't know if he's on the payroll or not. He might just believe in all that. He is anti-Western. He is clearly pro-Russia, and that I think is why he's so bad about the United States. So anti-Israel. His basic premise is the West is bad. The West is wrong. The West makes all these, is the villain in the geopolitical space. Russia, Iran, Palestinians, whatever, are the good guys in the end, even though he'll never say that because he doesn't talk in terms of good guys, bad guys. But he implies it. And the basic implication is the West is bad. And that's what drives his theory. So I think he's one of the worst thinkers. I think he's terrible. I think he doesn't understand the world, and I think he's immoral. He's a bad guy. All right, did I lose any subscribers because of that answer? Maybe. We'll see. No, not so far. We'll see later on. I know he has a lot of fans. Jesper Sandberg. I'm lobbying for EU lawmakers to demand that YBS start streaming in more European-friendly time zones. It's unfair to European audiences that we have to watch YBS so late. True. So we're going to fix that. So your lobbying has obviously helped because I got this letter from the EU threatening me with being banned in the EU unless I accommodate the Europeans. So as a consequence of that, starting in August, for 2 months, in August and in September, and potentially in the future as well, in August or September, I will be in a European time zone and will be broadcasting in the evening in Europe. So expect shows in European time zones at 5, 6, or 7 p.m., every night instead of the much later times. So, I'm listening. I listen to all my critics. And I certainly listen to European lawmakers. They definitely are high on my list of people I listen to. And as a consequence, I will be broadcasting from Europe. So for those of you who don't know, I will be in Lisbon. That's almost European time zone. I know it's not quite European time zone, but it's almost. It's getting close to European time zone. I will be in Lisbon for 3 weeks in August, and then I will be in Florence, which will be deeply in European time zone for 5 weeks or 4 weeks. So you will get a lot of shows. And as Fred Harper says, I'm going to be attempting to broadcast because he knows of my experiences last time. However, this time what I've done is I'm renting an office in Lisbon and in Florence, renting an office in both places. Now, you guys are going to have to help me with the super chat because I have to fund this. But I'm renting an office, and I'll be broadcasting from that office. They have promised me, who knows, but they have promised me that the office has Ethernet. It has wired internet access. And if that is the case, then I should have robust internet to be able to broadcast to all of you from those cities. So I'll be in a Regis, which is a little office space, in Lisbon and in Florence. And I will try to broadcast every day in the evening from there, from this office space. And again, I listened to you last time. You suggested I should get an office. I'm getting an office with wired internet. So thank you, Jesper, for the lobbying. It worked. See, it worked. See, sometimes wishes do come true. The Doodle Bunny, is Trump doing this 180 to demonstrate the impact of his arbitrary wins over other nations, or to throw a bone to the isolationist, anti-war, anti-Semitic base, or to get the Nobel Prize? I think it's the throw a bone and get a Nobel Prize. I don't think he controls his whims. It just is. I don't think he's trying to show the whim. I think he wants to get the Nobel Prize, and I think he wants to throw a bone to the anti-Semitic right. All right. Clark, was Trump projecting when he said they don't know what the F they're doing? I think he knows he doesn't know what he's doing. Look at his face. He looks more and more unhinged and deranged. He certainly does. But no, I think he was lashing out at them because they were disobeying him. I mean, that's where the F word came from. They were disobeying him. He told them no. And they went ahead and launched anyway. And it wasn't the Iranians so much, because he didn't actually speak to the Iranians directly. It's Bibi he was angry with, because Bibi didn't listen to him. How dare? How dare he? And I don't know if you saw how Bibi was groveling yesterday about the special relationship he has with Trump and how close they are and how friendly they are. And they have been since the old days when Trump was in real estate, and they've been close and friendly and all this stuff. Michael, if Mamdani wins, what are the chances he actually nationalizes supermarkets, makes all public transportation free, and shuts down Rikers Island? I don't know. I mean, I don't think he was going to nationalize supermarkets. He was just going to start government-owned ones. And by the time he got those started, I think his term would be over. I actually don't think he'll do a lot of things he's promising to do. I think they're great slogans, but not realistic at all. I'm still hoping he'll lose tomorrow. But, there might be one grocery store that he opens, and I don't know if transportation might be free. That might be. I don't know about shutting down Rikers Island, but yeah, who knows what he'll do. Harper Campbell, Candace Owen is out there saying we shouldn't be helping Israel spread its genocide to Iran. This level of irrationality and hatred has been completely normalized. It's just like 1920s Germany. Yeah, I mean, she is bad. And the fact that she has so many followers is bad sign, bad sign for America. It's not good. She is really wacko. I mean, completely insane. Please don't watch her. Barbara, have you heard anything about an excise tax on money taken out of the U.S.? Supposedly it will not apply to citizens, or not yet. I expect the U.S. to more rightly restrict removal of assets. Rightly restrict. Why would that be right? I don't know why that would be right. There's something about taxing remittances. So a lot of people, poor people, come to the United States. They work, and they take a chunk of their income and they send it back to their families. Often they leave their wife and their kids back wherever they came from, or elderly parents, and they send money back to them. And it's a huge income to a lot of, for example, Latin American countries. A lot of them, these remittances are a massive amount of money for them. And the United States now wants to tax that. Now, these are people who've already paid taxes, but now they want to tax it. Even if you're a citizen, they want to tax it because the money's leaving America. And Trump has this mercantilistic, primitivistic, ignorant, stupid view that money leaving America is bad. So yes, there's definitely that in the air. Whether they can get that passed, whether they'll do it, I don't know, but it's definitely something being talked about. Michael, do you see MAGA beginning to fracture and infight? I don't see how such an evil movement can sustain itself beyond Trump. It will probably collapse during his term. Vance and Hawley have no chance. Well, it's really hard to tell, right? Because first, Trump holds it together. He holds it together by his irrational actions, like we saw today, like by the ceasefire is a good example of kind of an irrational action that keeps them together. He's very good at it. He's very good at manipulating them. He's very good at getting them to stay. What happens after he resigns, leaves, gets voted out, doesn't run again, dies, I don't know, is hard to tell because it depends on who replaces him. MAGA is held together by a form of mysticism, and it has its preachers. And yeah, the preachers don't always get along, but neither did all Catholic preachers get along. And as long as they can rally around a leader every so often, then they will hold together. So I'm not sure that they're going to fragment completely. It's yet to be seen what happens to MAGA when Trump is no longer there. And again, it's very much going to depend on who comes and replaces him. Oh, we added a subscriber while I was talking, so thank you to whoever just subscribed. And by the way, if you're not a subscriber, become a subscriber. These shows are interesting. You'll learn a lot. You agree, disagree, you'll get some cognitive dissonance going, which is healthy. It's good for you. All right, the Rational IP, $70 basically, €60. He says, currently reading The World According to Ayn Rand, translated from Dutch economist Fritz Bosch. He notes subjectivism is not widely known in Europe and tries to inspire the reader to discover Rand's work. Love seeing this initiative. Yeah, absolutely. Why don't I know this book? That's interesting. I'll have to find out what's going on there. Hopefully it's a good read, and hopefully he's not misrepresenting Rand. But yes, people should read Rand in the original. They should read Ayn Rand. And Ayn Rand is translated into Dutch, so you can read them in English and in pretty much every language other than Farsi for Iranians or Arabic for Arabs. Those are the only two major languages she's not translated into, but everywhere else she's translated. But that's great that somebody is encouraging people to read Rand and publishing in their native language. And The World According to Ayn Rand is a great title. It's a great title. So I hope the book is good. Thanks you, Rational IP. Really, really, really appreciate the support. You're great. That'll get us beyond our goal for the second hour and into our goal for the third hour, which is great because we're almost at the third hour. Michael, who asked so many questions, all with dollar amounts attached to them. Great questions, and maybe the #1 Super Chat supporter of the show over the last year, 2 years, I don't know, something like that. Michael says, is anti-Semitism being normalized like never before in American history? I mean, it's hard to tell because there certainly was a period in American history where anti-Semitism was pretty rampant. There were years in the early part of the 20th century, late 19th century, early 20th century, where Harvard and Yale discriminated against Jews, where there were lots of country clubs where you couldn't go to if you were Jewish, even into the 1950s. So in terms of explicit anti-Semitism, it probably existed more back then than it is now. I think what's happening now is it's under the surface. It's not explicit in discrimination, but the conspiracy theories, the stories, the anger and the hatred towards Jews. There was Henry Ford, of course, was anti-Semitic, so is pretty out there. So I'd say certainly in modern American history, post 1960s, this is probably the most it's been, and it's growing, and it's hard to tell where it goes from here, right? But it's really bad. I don't think it's the worst in history, but it's really bad. Friend Harper, if you have seen them, what are your opinions on Law-Abiding Citizen and Watchmen? If you haven't, share us anyway and keep up the informative commentary. See you at Okan. I haven't seen Law-Abiding Citizen. I think I saw Watchmen. Watchmen was like a cartoon thing, right? A graphic novel. I liked elements of Watchmen. I mean, it's dark and it's cynical at the end. But there are elements of it that are good, and clearly there's some Ayn Rand impact there. So I liked Watchmen, even though the big picture, it's kind of cynical. Linda, thank you for the sticker. Colleen, thank you for the sticker. Really appreciate it. And I thank Martin already, so I think we're caught up. All right, 2 last questions. Equals unfair, equal to reality. Equals unfair is the name of my book. God, that book over there. Oh, no, that book over there. That one. Let's see. Equal to reality. With CBDCs and net zero laws tied to UN goals slowly getting passed, do you think those pushing this agenda will actually get their Atlas Shrugged style world in the end? No, I think people will keep rebelling against that. I think net zero, particularly in America, I think is now people have clearly rebelled against it. Whatever happens in America with subsidies for solar and stuff like that, it's not being motivated by net zero. It's being motivated now by pure cronyism, pure, redistribution of wealth to certain businesses at the expense of other businesses. So I don't think they're going to get their way. I think that maybe places in Europe. I mean, even Europe, they're talking about investing heavily in nuclear energy. So I don't see us quite getting to Atlas Shrugged yet. But we will at some point, I think. Milko, good news. We might find an audience here for you. Answer my email for the info we need to see if we can organize it. We need objectivists in Italy. Yes, we do. All right, I will answer your email. I know I said I would yesterday. I will today. I promise. I'll try to do it right now. All right, guys. 2 hours on the dot. Thank you. Thanks to all the super chatters. You guys were incredibly generous. Thank to Rational IP and Michael and James. You guys all particularly are being thanked for your contributions. And I will see you tomorrow. Tomorrow is Wednesday. I think tomorrow we're at the same time. I think tomorrow's a 3 p.m. East Coast time. So I think we're going to stay at this time. I think even Thursday it's going to be the same time. Friday will be different. Friday I still teach. So Friday will be 4:30. So that'll be late for you Europeans. I apologize. But 3 o'clock. So I'm trying to keep it early for the Europeans. So the EU doesn't get angry with me. And I am going off to dinner in a little while, still early. I'm off to dinner, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Again, thanks to the super chatters. Don't forget Patreon. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to press the like button before you go. That's important. And share the show. If you see shorts and other videos of mine, share them. Get the word out there. Let's increase the audience significantly. Bye, everybody.